The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
Maybe 5 years ago, my family, we were driving from Toronto to New York. And then once we drove to New York to visit my in-laws, we were gonna fly from New York to Florida to visit my parents. And then after being in Florida, we were gonna fly back to New York and then drive to Baltimore for my niece's bat mitzvah. So if you can imagine, by the way, that alone, trying to do that, what I just told you with like 7 kids, like something's bound to go wrong. But anyway, so we get in the car, we drive to New York, we fly to Florida, and now we're flying back from Florida. The trip went well so far. Flying back from Florida to New York, we arrive in New York. The flight went well. We have all of our wedding gowns and bat mitzvah gowns and the suits and all the fancy stuff we needed for like the final tail of our trip, the final leg of our trip. And anyway, we arrive in New York. Pack up, unpacking all of our stuff. You have everything in like the overhead bins, and when the plane lands. And my son says, Tati, when we get to New York, when we get off the plane, could we take a picture with the pilot? And I remember thinking to myself, like, the last thing I want to do when I'm getting off the plane after like 3-4 hours on that flight, the last thing I want to do when I finally have like my bags and the rolling and holding a kid under my arm and like kind of like coming off the plane like this is stop for a photo shoot with the pilot. That's the last thing. So if he doesn't remember, we're not stopping for pictures. Anyway, we get off this plane. We walk right by the cockpit. My son doesn't remember. We don't stop. And that's it. We're walking in that little thing. What's that thing called? That little jetway thing from the plane to the, what is that called? Jetway? Jetway? Okay. So we're walking the little jetway. And of course, who's coming on the plane as we're getting off? The pilot. The pilot who's about to turn the flight around and fly back to Fort Lauderdale. So my son says, oh, the pilot. I was like, okay, it's not our pilot, but okay, whatever. We'll take a picture with him. So we stop, we take pictures, put everything down. Okay, great. Pick up all of our stuff and we leave the airport. Packing up our car, we're driving out of JFK, and I said, Miriam, did you see the hanging bag when we packed the car? She goes, no. She's like, dude, you mean the one with like our suits and the gowns, all the stuff that we need for the bat mitzvah? I was like, yeah. She said, no, I didn't pack it. I said, me neither. She goes, oh my gosh, we left it on the plane. We left it on the plane. So we were like freaking out. What are we gonna do? We left the hanging bag on the plane. It has all of our clothing in it. So I called Delta. I'm like, you gotta help me. They said, sure, no problem. Just go online and submit a form. I submit a form online. It says, we'll contact you in 3 weeks. I'm like, yeah, right. This is not happening. I get someone on the phone and she says, oh, you lost your bag. I said, oh, no problem, sir. We're gonna help you out. I said, great. She goes, okay, so your bag, either they took it off the plane and it's in JFK airport. I said, oh, good. She goes, but we also have an off-site location for lost baggage. So it could be it's at our off-site location in New York. I said, oh, okay, so either JFK airport or the off-site location. She goes, wait, but if they didn't take it off the plane, that means it's heading back to Fort Lauderdale. I said, okay. She goes, in which case, it's going to be in the airport in Fort Lauderdale. I was like, okay, so either JFK or the off-site or on the plane or on the way to Fort Lauderdale. She goes, yes, but Fort Lauderdale also has an off-site location where they keep their stuff. So it might be in there. I'm like, okay, that narrows down to like 5 places in 2 different states. So, here we are. We're off to a good start. And we realized we had to figure out whether the bag was on the plane or whether it was taken off the plane. At least we'll know whether it's in Florida or New York. And we're trying to think, okay, who do we know on the flight? There's got to be somebody on the flight that we know. Somebody's on that plane. We'll contact them and we'll find out whether the bag's on the plane or not. And I'm thinking, and then I remembered the pilot. And I pull up the picture on my phone and I zoom into his name tag. And I see it says like, I don't know, Matthew Johnson. And I thought to myself, like, this guy's got to be like on social media or something. And I know what he looks like. I'll find him. I look everywhere. I could not find the guy's picture. I couldn't find him anywhere on social media. And then I thought, you know what? I know this is like a long shot. I'm just going to send an email. I'm going to send him an email. I'm just going to send an email to MatthewJohnson@gmail.com. And honestly, what are the pilots doing anyway up there? We all know it's autopilot and there's Wi-Fi. They're just checking their email anyway the whole time on that flight. So I'm just going to send them an email. I send an email with the picture Dear Matthew Johnson, by any chance, are you the guy in this picture with my kids? And he writes back half hour later, yes, and I think you left your bag on the plane. And I just thought to myself, so crazy. How often in life we think to ourselves like, yeah, there's a concept called God. Yeah, he's the big pilot all the way up there, so far away. He's up in the sky. He's not listening to me. I'm not listening to him. And what does he know about my baggage? What does he know about me? And if I talk to him and send him an email or send him a prayer, is he even listening? And this story just reminded me that yes, there is that pilot in the sky. Yes, there is that big pilot up there, 30,000 feet in the air. But you know what? He is listening. He does know about my baggage. And he's going to help me out with it. This is Hashgacha Pratis. By the way, I know you're wondering, did you get the bag or not? Yes, we got the bag back. This is Hashgacha Pratis. This is divine intervention. This is Hashem saying, Sytner, I know you're an idiot. You got 6 kids, 7 kids. You can't keep your stuff together. Don't worry about it. I'll help you out. I'll look after your bags. You do your thing. I got the pilot up in the sky. I'll make sure you don't take a picture with the off pilot. I'll make sure you take a picture with the guy coming on the plane so that you get your bags back. That's Hashem. He's got billions of people's bags to look after, and he's got us all taken care of.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org